What's up, guys? I'm Jessica.
And I'm Dave.
And I am here to unbox with you the Comic Bento. I know that we've unboxed a few things together in the past, but this time I want to share it with Dave.
Yay.
He's going to explain what's in it a bit. Basically, you guys remember Loot Crate, the monthly subscription where you buy a box, it comes to your house, and we unbox and show you all the good stuff that they have inside. This is similar, except with comic books. It's, like I said, Comic Bento. The subscription works like this. Actually, Dave, while I explain, why don't you just give it a good try.
The old college try.
So what happens is you can buy a $20, you can pay $20 a month for a single box to try it out, or you can do the $17.50 a month subscription where you get a box every month for $17.50. It comes with how many? It comes with four comic
trades.
books, 4 different trades. Like I said, Dave's gonna explain a bit about what's inside in terms of the content, but it's good for, you know, if you have younger nieces or nephews, you want to give it as a gift, you know somebody who's interested in comics, or you want to get started in comics, you don't really know what you like. This is a good little sample pack to see what kind of themes and things that you want. So Dave, what do we got in there?
So there's a wide selection of stuff from publishers. There's basically a Marvel thing. Basically, it's the big 5 except for DC. So there's a novel adaptation from Dark Horse.
Is this a hardback?
It is a hardcover, girl. What's up? Superior Iron Man from ye ol' Marvel Comics. Valiant Comics is Rye, which I actually just learned that it's pronounced Rye. I've been saying Ray since like junior high when Valiant was a real thing, and
like rye bread, yeah.
Yeah, I had no idea that it was pronounced Rye until the YouTubes told me that it was pronounced that way.
Well, you learn something new every day, Dave.
Yeah, and then an Aspen book. Yeah, it's cool that it's 4 trades for, what'd you say, $20?
It's $17.50 if you subscribe and pay for 6 months. If you do just want to buy a box to try it out, it's $20. But what do you think? For value-wise, you get enough bang for your buck?
Well, it's kind of interesting that it's a bunch of different publishers. So like you said, it's kind of like a taste tester. If you're getting into comics and you don't want to go to a comic book store, you're a little nervous that people might, I don't know, have a stereotypical comic book store interaction, which I would discourage you from, my friend. I think you should go to a comic book store and talk to a real human, because there's a lot of really nice people that work at comic book stores. Yeah, it's cool that you get 4 books for $20. It's $5 each. And the nice part, though, is that they're not randomly selected, even though they are kind of randomly selected. They're all volume 1s, so you're not getting, like, volume 8 of Green Lantern, the insert storyline here that you've never heard of and have no idea what's going on.
So you start from the beginning.
Yeah, start from the beginning on each one. Most
That's
of them are
pretty cool.
self-contained. The only one that's not self-contained, more or less, is Superior Iron Man, which was in the middle of their Axis crossover. And so if you didn't know that Tony Stark is evil during this, you'd figure it out, because the theme is kind of people in the gray area and anti-heroes and whatnot, and people caught in the middle.
That's pretty cool they do a theme.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I would be interested to know, just as a business person who makes comics, what their demographic is, like what the age range of people getting into it is, and I'd be interested to know what they're kind of servicing. Because I feel like it's a great idea, and I feel like a lot of people who are trying to get into comics would benefit from this. But I feel like there's also probably there's a way to go into a comic book store and ask somebody where you're gonna get something that's probably a little bit more tailored to your interests.
And you're old school, Dave. That's the thing. You like the experience of walking into a comic book store.
Well,
going in, asking what you want.
I do, but I think part of that is maybe it's a little bit of a point of view of privilege in that I know a lot about comics, so maybe there's I don't mean that to be big-headed, I'm just saying that this isn't aimed at me. Mm-hmm. Like, I would not want this. But maybe if there's someone who hasn't been in a comic book store, and maybe they've just seen a couple of the movies, or they're looking to get into it in some way, maybe that would benefit them. But the way I got into comics was by going into a comic book store and being like, I don't know, I like this thing, I like Platoon. And then the guy was like, oh, you like war comics? The other side's really good. Oh, okay. I like The Sopranos. Scalped is really good. Like, I feel like somebody's more likely to be invested in the medium of comics if they enter it through a genre that they enjoy and have a vested interest in. And that is what these kind of Loot Crate style things don't possess, because you're kind of trying to do a catch-all, which I think is not so great. But I think that it's cool that people are getting into comics anyway. Any type of way that someone
True.
can get into the comic book medium, I support, and I think it's super cool.
And with internet, and with the way that things are changing, this is the new age way. Like we were talking with, another friend of ours who orders comic books online, likes comics, doesn't go to the store anymore, orders them off Amazon if he wants to read them, and then ships them back or sells them and what have you. This is like the new age way. I think this is more for gift giving. I think this is a good gift if, like you said, you have like a young kid, niece, nephew, or somebody who is into the whole, they want to
get into it.
They want to get into it. They like the movies, and they've never really. It's a good like for me. Okay, put it this way. For me, if I had, let's say, a son, and I wanted him to read, well, comic books would be a good way to do that. He's still reading. It's still expanding your knowledge and practicing reading the words. It's just a cool little story. You know what I mean? So it's a good way, I think, like I said, for like maybe the younger demographic, the younger generation who wants to get into comics, this is a good gift. Or a good
especially because like
idea to tell them about.
Especially the young demographic, because like they're their first volumes, and hopefully this would catch somebody. Because let's be real, I got into reading comics in a mainstream sense from Spider-Man in the late '90s when it was the Identity Crisis crossover, which is awful. Where Spider-Man is not actually Spider-Man; he's 4 different characters. It's really bad. And I came in the middle of a story arc that I found it like borders, and I was like, this doesn't make any sense. What's happening? But I like this. But I don't understand who the fuck is Prodigy and why is Ricochet? What is this? So if a product like this that could supply somebody with a couple entrees into the comic book world, I think that'd be great. But unfortunately, I don't think that these things service that demographic. I think they service 20-something-year-olds that have seen movies. But I don't know. I'm not a purveyor of the fine bento box.
And that's okay. And you don't have to know. If it sounds interesting and it's something that you guys want to jump on board with, $17.50 for a 6-month subscription, per month, isn't that expensive. I mean, how much do you think this would be retail if it wasn't?
It was $17.99 retail.
Okay, so this is retail by itself a little bit more than a Comic Bento box subscription for 6 months. So
let me ask you though, as a non-comic book person, would you aside from the fact that they've shipped us this thing and they obviously want us to talk about this and pimp it for them, aside from that, just you as an individual, if this showed up on your door, would you read these?
If this showed up on my door, I would peruse one that I like. For me,
literally this book, these books right here.
Troublemaker, I would skim through. No, I would not read these.
Yeah, you would not. Yeah.
And I'm not, like I said, I'm a movie person. I don't do the comic.
But that's not. But that's.
But as a 25-year-old who hasn't really had the knowledge of that you have, I would probably skim through one, and the rest maybe not.
Word. Well, I think we've talked about it.
I think we've exhausted everything we can talk about. But Comic Bento, like I said, is cool if it's something that you want to get into. If it's comic books or something that you may be interested in, like I said, a gift. Doesn't matter how old you are. If you want to give it out, give it a try. ComicBento.com. Until next time.